So we're going to go from, for 192.6602A. Thanks for the update, by the way, on the one position. So we're probably not ready to discuss it. No need, is there?
No, I don't think there's any need to discuss that at this point in exec.
But probably good news. Okay, so the other one is we put would it be under the litigation?
One night.
Oh, yeah, we're under F, is to consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection.
I should have asked you first. Thank you, Council Pope. So yes, we can close the doors and start the recording.
But
In one executive session. You have something to add?
I would ask that this would be board only and council
Okay,
for executive session,
okay.
if that's agreeable.
It's agreeable here.
So you're kicking me out.
Yep. Don't make me come down there.
April 16th, 2021, Curry County, Oregon Board of Commissioners. Next on the agenda, do we have an other?
Well, there's a discussion for the board chair. 4D.
Is this your agenda item, Commissioner Pash?
No, you did the agenda.
No.
Or Director.
This was
Thank
put
you.
on by Brenda Starbird. I believe there was an outstanding motion on the floor, so it's been put back on.
There was my motion to ask this board to remove Commissioner Boyce as chair and to replace him with Commissioner Herzog, was where the meeting was left.
And it's my understanding that, if I can speak,
Commissioner Herzog, certainly.
that motion died for lack of a second. So,
Well, basically what I'd like to talk about that goes along with, and the public may be wondering why I'm asking to do that, and as we probably, it's not nothing short of general knowledge that Commissioner Boyce and I have not always come to the greatest of agreements on things, but there were some things that were asked of me the other day that I took very seriously, saying that I broke through a roadblock on Highway 101, putting people's lives in danger, and verbally assaulting a state employee. I understand she's a flagger for ODOT, or I'm not sure that that's her official title, but that's what I've been told she is. What I want to make sure that it's clear to the public, I am the liaison for the Curry County Road Department. I am the vice chair of SWACT, which is the Southwest Area Commission on Transportation. I am also on the board of LIPSIC, which is Local Public Safety. I'm sorry, I'm the vice chair of LIPSIC, Local Public Safety Coordinating Council, and I'm just a member of SWACT, which is the Area Transportation and Road. So I just kind of want to give the public a briefing on what happened. On the 12th of March, this is the meeting minutes from that, I was in a SWACT meeting. Darren Neville made some comments, as did Dan Latham, about the current state of the road. A few days after that, I was in a phone conversation and we were alerted that the road condition was better. They had removed most of the debris from it, and they were getting ready to blacktop, but it looked like the slide had stopped and things had gotten better, and they thought they would have the road open in the next couple of days. For the record, I've never gone out on a job site in Curry County and interrupted or even viewed anything going on in this county with road. since I've been a commissioner, other than when the Hooskanogin slide happened. I went on one occasion by myself. Sheriff Ward and I went, I think, on 2 separate occasions together to view that slide and the threat to the public of that slide. So again, being on the SWACT board and LIPSIC, and as the director or the liaison for the county, after our meeting that Friday, I decided to go up and view the progress that had been made, and I understood that someone from Tidewater was up there getting ready to start blacktopping, who I knew. I thought I'd go up and say hi. So as I approached the road closure, there was a gentleman there in a car, and I identified myself. I showed him my credentials. I said, I'm a Curry County Commissioner, and I would like to go up and view the slide area, and I understand the nature of it, and I will be careful. And he said, that would be fine. If I would please stay off the road, there's a barrier up there, do not block the road. I said, okay. I drove up to the barrier to the top of the hill. There were 2 great big red barrels there. I pulled down off the road inside those barrels, leaving the entire highway open. I in no way blocked or impeded any traffic at all. I went up on the site, walked up on the site, met with the gentleman from Tidewater. He gave me a 2 or 3 minute dissertation of what was happening, when they thought the road would be open, and the safety measures they were taking. I shook his hand and walked away. I was on site no more than 5 minutes. Began to walk back down the hill, and as I got through the barriers and opened the door to my car, a yellow pickup truck drove up to me. There was a woman in there that started berating me, asking me who I thought I was to be there, she doesn't know how I negotiated getting through the barrier. I, at that point, showed her my credentials and told her I was a Curry County Commissioner, and that I had been in touch with, on a SWAC meeting, a previous day or so before that, and I had also alerted them that in that meeting that I would probably be taking a ride up there to look at it. She told me at that point, and I won't quote it, but this is as close to what I can remember as there is. She said, I don't care who you are, and I don't care if you're a Curry County Commissioner or not. You have no right to be here. You are putting the public safety in danger, and you should not be here. I, at that point, asked her if she knew who Dennis was, if she knew who Dan Latham was, and she didn't identify as she knew any of them. I said, well, she needed to learn who her supervisors were and check with them before doing what she was doing to me, and she continued to berate and lambaste me. And at one point, I did lose my temper, and I don't recall the exact words I did use, but I remember the last word I used began with a B. And I may not be proud of it, but I used it. And that's who I as a person am. I'm not perfect, but I had had about enough. So in full disclosure, when I came off that hill, I immediately called Richard Christensen, who is the roadmaster for Curry County, and I addressed him with exactly what had happened. I just even told him that I had had an unkind word with her, and that's how it was left, and he was fully aware. It bothered me over the weekend that I did that, and it also bothered me that a ODOT employee would treat me that way. So in conversations with Glenn Peterson on previous issues, mainly asking for new signage from ODOT coming off that hill to slow people down going across that bridge because we have so many annual issues there. Before an emergency happens, I've asked them to put more signage there. Glenn had written me a letter about something else. It was about the signage, and I had written him back a letter thanking him for his response. And we had also talked about the homeless issue down in Gold Beach. Myself and Richard Christensen had a joint meeting about that, as well as SWACT. And I thanked him for his hard work on that issue. I thanked him for his work on the bridge. And then I wrote to him, and this is on Monday morning following the Friday event, I also want to give you some information about an incident that happened on Friday morning. Earlier, I had gotten an email from Dan Latham about the progress on 101. On my way back from a meeting, I saw the flagger at the road closed sign on 101 and identified myself with my credentials, and I asked to go see the site, promising to park well off the road and be mindful of truck traffic and workers. He allowed me to pass. I parked well off the road behind some barrels and visited the site for about 5 minutes with a foreman from Tidewater that I know. As I went back to get into my car, a woman driving a white ODOT pickup drove up to me, blocking the entry, which she did. She parked her truck literally across the road and asked me who I thought I was. I identified myself, showed her all of my credentials, and tried to explain my reason for the visit. She told me I had no right, and further told me she didn't care if I were a county commissioner or not, that I had no right to be there. I was still calm at this point, but after her further berating me, as she persisted, my calmness wore thin, and we didn't leave on the best of terms. This is only the second time I have visited a job site ODOT was working on in 2.5 years, the last being Huskenhagen, and I always try to remain aware of safety issues. I apologize if I've caused any problems, but this woman was not one who I would want representing me if I were in any form of public response. This letter was sent again 3 days after the event happened. So I just want everyone to know that I didn't try and hide this. I didn't try and sneak it under the rug. I was actually shocked that this happened. Glenn responded to me with an email saying, thank you for the information. Would I call him about it? And I did talk to him after. He has since called me a couple of times. We've spoken a couple of times on this issue, and he's quite surprised that an employee of his would go to the Oregon State Police about this rather than contact someone in ODOT, one of their supervisors, a manager, a district manager. She took it upon herself to go directly to OSP. He then told me that he had received a call from another commissioner. He said, I don't remember the guy's name, but I think it was Boyce, asking me about what happened and how it happened, and was he aware of that the law had been broken, that I had endangered people, and this is his words. And he said, I was rather surprised by that phone call, and I said, so was that Commissioner Court Boyce? And he said, yes, it was. And that was where our conversation basically, I said, well, if you're going to answer. He said at that point, I'm sorry I left that out, he said at that point he had not decided if he was even going to make an answer, that he felt as though what had happened was negligible and it really wasn't something that he felt was important. So that's where that stands. I was never endangering anyone's lives. I was never in blocking the road. Trucks were going in and out as I was there. I think 2 trucks went in and out while I was there. And I will stand by what I said and did. I will also say that during the fires 3 years ago, Commissioner Boyce was on those fires many times as a representative of Curry County. And as I recall Commissioner Boyce testifying too, he was asked to leave on a couple of times, and he was offended that he was asked to leave by the sheriff's department, that he didn't belong, they felt he didn't belong there, and he was impeding with what was happening. He felt he should be there. So I don't know why this is any different than that. He felt as though he was supposed to be there during those fires to report to the public what was happening. All I did was took a drive up a hill to see some road work being done, and now I'm being accused of endangering the public and doing something horrible to a woman that, to be quite honest with you, I don't know of too many people, women included, that wouldn't have given this person with her tone with me exactly what they thought of her actions. So that's all I have on that. I will say there's something else that's come up since, and this was publicly testified to on Wednesday about this letter from the Landing restaurant owner back to the county describing, this is an invoice describing fees due, payable no later than March 18th for an annual permit for a restaurant. On the bottom of this invoice, it clearly states Commissioner Boyce has said to hold off on paying this. Please note my new mailing address. That's the note on the bottom of this. So when Commissioner Boyce was asked, he did testify that he had told that to several people, were his words, and he wasn't sure that the language was exactly clear, but as I recall, it was close enough. Since then, I've spoken to some people. There are some legal issues with this, and this is not only an ethical violation, but it is potentially against the law to do this. I won't ask our county council to comment on this at this point, but I will say that this has been brought already to the state, and we will be asking for a response from them. But these are the kind of things that, again, I've asked for time and time again, that a chair cannot do, a commissioner cannot do. We are not empowered to do these kind of things. And there are other things that have happened over time, and I'm not going to go through the litany of those, but as a commissioner, we cannot, what I call get out of our lane, we cannot overstep. Telling people that they don't have to pay their taxes or a permit fee is a clear violation. These are board orders. This contributes directly to the general fund of this county. And we cannot be doing these things. It's almost become a weekly thing here, and I don't know how much longer I can tolerate this. It's frustrating. I've heard that some are not, are feeling ill because of this, as am I. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning not thinking of my Lord. I'm thinking about Court Boyce and what's going to happen today. And it's a bad way to live my life. And we have to stop and just be commissioners, do our job, and listen to each other and the arguments, whether we agree or not, and make those decisions and let our county government run. We're not supposed to be telling the sheriff what road he should patrol today, or our code enforcement who he should or who he shouldn't write a citation to. We certainly should not be telling our citizens that they don't have to pay their bills right now. I'll take care of it. And I'm sorry I added that last part, and I shouldn't have. But these are things that constantly come up that I, as a commissioner, can no longer tolerate, and that's why I ask this board to let commission. I've spent 2 years as board chair, and if I had to be board chair again, I would. But I would ask that this board allow Commissioner Herzog to be the chair, to sit between us, and hopefully monitor a better meeting. And then again, also make sure that Commissioner Boyce stops doing these kind of things. We cannot have this, and I don't know how we can continue to support these kind of things as a group. And I know we all have our little groups, and we all go to our little offices and we talk, but these kind of things have to stop. And again, there's more than one, and it's got to stop. And I guess for right now, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, Commissioner Pash. Just one comment on the restaurant fees. Didn't tell anybody they didn't have to pay their fees. And looking back, I don't think that was the best decision I could have made for the Rogue Landing gentleman, who is in tremendous. We think we don't sleep at night. He's trying to figure out how he's going to overcome $60,000. And there were a couple of others. One, I said, could you just pay half now if you don't have the money on a new open up? And this very nice lady said, yes, is there some way I can delay the other 4? And I said, tell him I said I encourage you to consider that. And by the way, that was for the Panther Den. There's been some restaurants fighting to stay alive that have actually written a bad check, trying to figure out what the heck to do. It's $900. The board may recall that in December and then again in January, I said, can we please, board, consider some relaxed fees, maybe even waive the fees. I've got the agenda routing slip. Should I have accelerated that and got it done? I mean, we've been pretty busy, but I've had it, and I've communicated to the board. Would you consider down the road, these people are desperate need of help. I wish and encourage them to call all three commissioners. And it's not just the restaurants, but as you know, it's primarily the restaurants. So I'm fighting to help any way I can, and I continue to fight. And I have spent a lot of time with the gentleman on the road landing, and he has got no help, and it's heartbreaking. And that's why I'm here, is to serve those people and figure out a way to help. You know, if I did something illegal, I will take the consequences. You know, it's tough times for everybody, and I'm going to keep representing those people and helping them any way I can. I have reported to the board, and I emphasize again, the 2 times I've brought it up, and either we ran out of time. I think one time we ran out of time, and one time there didn't seem to be enough interest. Don't quote me on that, but we could go back and review the meetings. So I was put here to do a job, and yeah, I take that pretty seriously, and I have, my record will show that I do everything I can to properly bring things before the board. You know, a lot of times, sometimes we only meet every 3 weeks, and so it's pretty hard to conduct business and help people, in particular, this stressful time we are right now. And it's always wait. It's always you're out of your lane. And my heart, your heart is to serve. And that's what we do. And that's why we're here. And that's why we wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning saying, how can I make a difference? How can I help these people? Look what's happening to our kids. Anyway, excuse me. Go ahead, Commissioner.
No,
Herzog.
if you're done. But it is a good reminder that what Chris brought up is that as a commissioner, we cannot make a decision like that. So this reminder is that we have to go before the other 2 commissioners, whether it's through county council, but we cannot make a decision that you don't have to pay your, and I go back to that decision we made of letting, hiring a person to be the camp host. I could not make that. I couldn't say, I'm going to give you a second chance. I couldn't do it on my own. But the 3 of us did, and it's working out so far. So I understand your heart, but you cannot make promises that you can't keep. That's the kicker. I can't. Chris can't. You can't. And I think what I heard from Cherie is that as a commission, we don't do a late fee. We've waived those, which, like a lot of businesses have, that Coos Curry Electric did at the beginning of that stuff. So, but please, we can't make a decision. One person can't make a decision. That's the bottom line.
Well, didn't make any promises, but I did communicate that I was working with the board 2 different occasions in a 6-week period to try and reduce the fees or even waive for 1 year the fees. Do you both recall that, correct?
I recall a couple of conversations
Okay.
about it, but there was never a board order or vote on it, no.
Okay, so if they don't have the money and they're trying to figure out everything they have to do, I mean, it's nationwide. They're having trouble finding employees. They're having trouble keeping their doors open. I don't know how else I can say it except maybe one of you 2 could bring that as an agenda item and get it done for those people. And maybe we'll have agreement on it. Maybe it'll be a full year waiver. Maybe it will be a reduced fee.
Case by
So
case,
what I
or-
communicated to those people was delay if you need to. I'll go to bat for you. I'll figure out what I can take to the board and how we can hopefully help you. No promises, Commissioner Herzog. Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Pash.
On that, business is business, and I mean, I've lost businesses because I couldn't pay my bills, and that's it's unfortunate. We're doing all we can through the state. When we got some of the funding we did, we had a right-of-way economic development, got everyone to sign up to get as much funding and help as they could, but unfortunately, business is business, and the general fund of this county still has to pay its bills. And because someone can't pay their bills, do I feel bad for them? Yeah, I do, but business is business, and that's part of the rules that we sign up for when we sign that business license.
We are losing people by no fault of their own.
Absolutely, I
It's
agree.
not bad management.
I didn't say it was, sir. I'm just saying the things that happen in business
So
happen.
excuse me, your philosophy would be correct if the environment that they have to work in was steady and normal. It's not. And so I'm asking this board right now, will you consider a full year waiver of fees?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay.
I personally like that, you know, what you told that, or, no, can you pay half? Can you, because I know it's terribly tough, but it's open, it's closed, so when they're open, you know, quick story, when we were first married, I got laid off, I was working for South Coast, I went to the bank, we bought a house, I went to the bank, it was Curry County, or, see you, bud, it was, not Rogue Federal Credit Union, but, yeah, it was.
Chetco.
Chetco Federal Credit Union.
That's going back.
And I went to Pat Widmer, she was running it, and I said, Pat, I can't make my house payment. Can you make interest payments? I can make interest payments. Roger Lyles and Gary Holman and I, we cut firewood all winter long, and I made interest payments. We can't just completely say no, but we can, you know, there's a plan, we can make a plan, but we have to do it together. And we can't promise somebody that they don't have to they paid their bill for a year, because there is a way, and and I don't think anybody wants to, because if you waive it for a year, that means next year you got $1,800 plus.
No. Waive, to
You
me.
waive it forever.
Yes,
Oh.
for 1 year. I'm not even making that recommendation. I'm throwing
Right.
that out there for discussion. I'd like the board to take action.
I'd have to see
I
what
think
that
it has
number
merit.
was.
Yeah, I might ask
I'm
our assessor if he'd waive my taxes for a couple of years, because I'm losing money being a commissioner every year. Maybe I can get my taxes assessment waived. And that's the kind of things we're talking about here. And business is business. You bought a business knowing the fees. Unfortunately, it's a hard time right now, but business is business. It's like you bought a property knowing the taxes. Because you've had hard times and hardships doesn't mean you don't pay your taxes. Your taxes still come due. I can't explain to Mr. Wong or one of the other restaurants here in town, well, this person was allowed to pay, or not to pay their taxes, but you still owe yours. Government has, unfortunately, that's what we signed up for, government has to draw a line. And the hardships of business in this environment are going to bring this country to its knees. It will, because I don't care what it says, small business in this country will not recover for decades. But the issue is, that's where we are, and we have to, business is business, for lack of a better word, business is business.
I'll bring it before the board on the 28th, commissioners, and I'll have two different options for the board to consider, unless somebody else wants to take that lead. I'm not going to delay it any longer. I wish we'd have done it before now, and I really thought we would have it done before now. If we could get
So I would like,
approval.
I'd like to see, you know, that number, and, you know, I think you just heard me. I think there's options. I don't know about waiving for a year. I know it's hardship, but I like the option of paying something when you are open.
At one time I talked about a 40% discount. Just throw that figure out there to see if the board might agree, and I didn't get a lot of follow-up on that.
Well, we got to get with
For 1 year.
with somebody with finance, and you know, that would be my recommendation.
We can help them, or tough deal, tough duty. Okay, what else we got? We lost our director of operations. You didn't have anything else? Council Pope? Excuse me. No? Okay. No further action. This board is adjourned.